Hello again. We're so used to regarding worries about immigration and terrorism as something new that we do occasionally forget that they are actually a grand old English tradition dating back centuries. By the early 1880s, there was widespread unease about the unrestricted immigration to Britain of people from Eastern Europe. Many of the immigrants couldn't speak English, or so it was said, and nor did they have a good understanding of the British way of life. The government was urged to tighten up the porous borders and reduce the flood of foreigners entering the country. Europe was at this time being shaken by a wave of bombings, shootings and assassinations carried out by anarchists, and all else apart, it was feared that the newcomers might introduce such practices to this country. We can see echoes here of Muslim terrorism, so that the Islamist bombings and stabbing sprees and so on are connected in most people's minds with the idea of immigration. At about 5:15 on the afternoon of February the 15th, 1894, Greenwich Park in South London was shaken by a large explosion. It took place on the path leading up to the Royal Observatory, and it was speculated that it was the observatory itself which might have been the target of the bombing. What had happened was that a man carrying a canister of nitroglycerine, which he had made himself in his lodgings, had stumbled and dropped the bomb, causing what used to be known by the IRA as an own goal. Pieces of this man were scattered over a wide area. His name was Marshal Bourdon, and he was a French anarchist. There was great anger as a result of this incident, and a backlash was created against foreigners in general. A few years later, post offices in South London, including the one at New Cross, were blown up by another anarchist. Following this man's trial at the Old Bailey, which ended in a prison sentence, came the first death on the London Underground as a result of a bomb exploding on a tube train. On the evening of April the 26th, 1897, a tube train pulled into Aldersgate Station, now called Barbican. There was an explosion in one carriage which shattered the glass roof of the station and killed a man from Tottenham called Harry Pitt. The explosion had been caused by a bomb which used dynamite. Nobody was ever arrested for this act of terrorism. It's worth remembering sometimes that a lot of the problems which we regard as being very modern, such as unrestricted immigration and its possible association with international terrorism, or bombs on London's public transport system and so on, have actually been a fairly regular feature of life in the capital for hundreds of years. We simply forget about them. How many viewers, for instance, know about the IRA bombings on London transport in 1939, which also killed people? All these things fade from memory, leaving us with the mistaken idea that what we see now happening in Britain is completely unprecedented. The thumbnail to this video shows the aftermath of the Aldersgate bombing. And in the description to this video, I'll give a few links about what I've been discussing.